I think everyone can agree and say that Silent Hill 2 is one of the greatest games ever made. Despite getting pretty mixed reviews back in the day, it made a huge impact on the horror genre. Personally, while I think Silent Hill 3 is the best game in the series, Silent Hill 2 still holds up and is an absolute masterpiece. Although, the biggest downside to it is its availability. Nowadays, the most accessible version of the game is the HD edition on Xbox 360 and PS3. Unfortunately, this version suffers from texture glitches, bugs, and all other kinds of issues. However, I will say that's not that bad if it's your first time playing the game. I will admit that the HD collection on 360 was the first time I played Silent Hill 2. Eventually, I did play the original version via emulating it on my phone. While it isn't perfect, since my phone is more on the cheap side, I still had a much better time with it than the HD collection version. Again, it's not necessarily a bad way to experience the game, but it definitely isn't the best. Nearly 2 years ago, Konami announced that several Silent Hill projects were in the works. 3 games, an interactive CGI series, and a movie. One of the games that was announced, of course, was a remake of Silent Hill 2 developed by Bloober Team. People were understandably skeptical. Bloober didn't have the best track record, especially when it came to their portrayal of mental health, the medium. As for me, I was cautiously optimistic. While there were things I liked, there were also things that I didn't like. The combat trailer that was released later didn't help at all. It is very obvious that the footage shown was unfinished. In fact, someone from Bloober on Twitter confirmed that was the case, and that Konami was to blame for the old footage. Colory surprise. However, things began to turn around when the story trailer was released. It looked good! Not only that, but it looked like it was going to be a very faithful remake. After nearly 2 years of waiting, I can confidently say that the Silent Hill 2 remake absolutely delivers, and is everything I ever wanted in a remake. Now I want to preface, the last mainline Silent Hill to ever be released was Silent Hill Downpour in 2012, making the gap between releases about 12 years. Although most people would say that Silent Hill 4 was the last good game, I can't speak for that because I didn't play it, which was released in 2004. 20 years ago! It is so refreshing to finally be able to talk about a new Silent Hill game, especially one that's this good. I'd even go as far to say that this is one of the best video game remakes of all time, next to the GameCube remake of Resident Evil. I should also note that I got the deluxe edition, meaning that I got to play the game 2 days early. There will also be spoilers not only for the original game but the remake as well, so I will warn you though when that happens. With that being said, today I will be reviewing the Silent Hill 2 remake. The game begins with our main protagonist, James Sunderland, washing his face in the bathroom, presumably clearing his mind of any negative thoughts he has.
Mary, could you really be in this town?
He steps outside the bathroom, walking up to view the distant lake that we all know and love. Bloober has done a fantastic job at recreating the world. Nearly every area in Silent Hill has either been faithfully remade or has been completely reworked in a way that doesn't feel redundant or lackluster. Before entering the town, you can actually find an area that looks oddly familiar. These are called glimpses of the past, which is pretty self-explanatory. They are like moments of deja vu, not only to us, but to James as well. There's also photos scattered around the entire game, with each photo seemingly telling one big story. Not exactly sure what it could mean, but I'm sure the community will figure it out eventually. The entire first encounter has been redone. Instead of going under a bridge, you essentially chase the figure into a house, which is where you find the radio and fight your first enemy. On the topic of that, I'm glad to say that the combat is a lot better than it looked in the trailers. Now, to be fair, there isn't much to improve in terms of the original game's combat. The remake actually makes an attempt to make it not feel like a slog while fighting an enemy. It's not perfect, but I'll take anything over repeatedly hitting an enemy with a stick in the same position. The remake includes a dodge mechanic which will make any Silent Hill purist combust into flames. It's not like Homecoming where you do a straight up dodge roll, instead James just steps in whatever direction you choose. To combat the player just absolutely demolishing an enemy, each one can either counterattack or even dodge by themselves. They are especially brutal on hard difficulty, so the balance between James's combat ability and the monsters is just right. Speaking of the enemies, they are faithfully recreated here. For example, the mannequins now actually make an attempt to hide from the player, even though they do a pretty bad fucking job. Oh, and they can crawl on walls now. Yay. Nearly every enemy also has a variant in the other world. The lying figure now spits a fountain of acid before it dies, causing damage if James doesn't move away fast enough. The mannequins are more aggressive and deal more damage, and the nurses are equipped with knives. To be honest though, it would have been funnier if they had guns like Silent Hill 3.
This kitchen is so hard to clean. If only there was an easier way.
Hi, I'm Derek Bum. Say goodbye to daily stains and dirty surfaces with new kitchen gun.
The game also includes some general quality of life changes. For example, instead of potentially missing it and getting soft-locked in the Historical Society, there's actually a mandatory point in the story where James replaces the stick with the steel pipe. I fucking love that. Thank you. The puzzles are just as challenging as ever, although unfortunately, as far as I know, there's no extra riddle difficulty like the original. There's also new places to explore, which some people would say makes the game more bloated, but to me it just makes the town itself more interesting. There's even a diner that looks a bit like the one in the first Silent Hill game where you meet Sybil for the first time. There's also a couple other Easter eggs that reference previous games, my favorite being Room 106 at Jack's Inn. If you go back there before the Historical Society, you can even see the symbol of the Order. Fucking incredible. Going back to the story itself, it's pretty much a one-on-one adaptation of the original game, with some brand new stuff added. There are a couple very slight changes, and I do mean very slight, and while I don't necessarily get why these changes were made, they don't really matter to me anyway. The later parts of the game are what really shine for me though. In the original Silent Hill 2, the prison was one of my least favorite parts of the game. It just didn't feel as cool as the hospital or the Woodside Apartments. In the remake, however, it is damn near perfect. I absolutely adore how everything is laid out, and the hangman puzzle is just so damn amazing. Although, I do think that while the labyrinth in the remake is slightly better, it's still my absolute least favorite part of the whole game. My biggest worry for the remake at the time of the rumors was the quality of the voice acting. The original Silent Hill 2's voice acting isn't perfect by any means, but it embodies an eerie feeling, as if it was meant to make you feel awkward or uncomfortable in some way. I was worried that it would turn out like the Troy Baker dub in Silent Hill 2 HD. Thankfully, I was proven wrong. Not only is the script pretty much spot on, but the performances given by everyone was damn near perfect. While it doesn't embody that same sense of awkwardness as the original, it still sounded fantastic. My favorite actor in this game by far is Luke Roberts as James Sunderland. His scenes feel so genuine and real that I forgot James is a fictional character. Everyone else did an incredible job as well, especially Maria and Angela's actors. Speaking of Angela, I know some of you motherfuckers in the comments are gonna be like, "Why, Angela has a man face," or some shit. Go outside and touch some grass. And you know what? Maybe go see a real woman, you greasy fuck. She's an abuse victim. She isn't meant to be sexy, you damn gooner. Go outside! Sorry, rant over. For this next bit, I will be spoiling major parts of the game, including most of the endings, so skip to this time frame if you want to avoid spoilers. Alright, you still here? Good. I think what solidified Luke Roberts as James for me was near the end of the game when he discovers that he killed his wife Mary. You can feel the amount of guilt and sadness from James. You can even see it in his face and just hear it in his voice.
Do you know where Mary is? Come on, talk to me.
Mary's gone. She's dead.
Liar. That's a lie.
No. It's the truth.
She died because she was sick?
I killed her.
Killer! Why'd you do it? I hate you! I want her back. Give her back to me. I knew it. You didn't care about her. I hate you, James! I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! She was always waiting for you. Why? Why?
I'm sorry. Mary, you know, isn't here.
Shout out to Laura's actress, by the way. Her emotions in the scene were incredible. And while in the Otherworld Hotel, the few enemies you face are too weak and fragile to even fight James. The lying figure crawled up on the floor, the mannequin's trying to crawl away from you with what energy it had left, and then they're struggling to even take a swing at you. Now, I won't talk about all the bosses until later, but my absolute favorite is the Abstract Daddy. Throughout the fight, you're chased around in hallways trying to fight the monster off. There are 3 TVs you have to break to progress, each playing a piece of audio. They are a bit abstract, but it's obvious that they are audio recordings of Angela's dad, verbally abusing her. During the fight, you can even hide in the closet in order for the monster to stop chasing you for a while, as if you're in Angela's shoes. Later on, the entryway to said closet gets blocked off, no longer being a safe space for you or Angela. I would be lying if I said that I didn't start crying after the boss was over. I understand that Angela is a fictional character, but man, her story is just so fucking heartbreaking. The implications were already there in the original, but the remake makes it a lot more obvious, and I prefer it that way. Not only that, but after this fight, you never see Abstract Daddy, ever again. Unlike the original, where multiples of him just randomly popped up in the hotel, I'm glad the remake fixes this, as it makes the encounter feel more unique. The endings for the most part are kept intact, with some of them being improved from the original. For example, the in-water ending, you can actually see James sitting in his car, although it still cuts to black before he drives off. The only endings that were changed were the joke endings. In the dog ending, James speaks Polish rather than Japanese. This is because Bloober is a Polish game studio. How clever.
Nie. To nie może być prawda.
In the UFO ending, Harry Mason is replaced with the PS2 model of James from the original game. Probably my favorite ending out of them all. There's also 2 brand new endings, Bliss and Stillfulness. I won't spoil them, as I feel like these endings specifically are ones you experience for yourself, or you can watch them on YouTube, I don't care. Another thing I absolutely adore is the soundtrack. It's no secret that the original game's soundtrack is an absolute banger, but somehow Akira Yamaoka managed to make his work even better. Not only are there new mixes of old tracks, but brand new ones entirely, and of course, they sound amazing. Oh, I haven't even talked about the bosses yet. Kinda. Oh my god, they are incredible. All of them have been reworked completely to be in line with the new mechanics, and I think all of them are pretty much an improvement from the original, except for one, which I won't say for obvious reasons, but just know, you'll know when you get there. Now, I know I've been deriding this game the whole time, but I still have complaints. My biggest complaint is that it runs on Unreal Engine 5, which of course means there's performance issues. For context, on my first 2 playthroughs, I played on quality mode, and for the rest I've been playing on performance mode. Visually, the game looks fucking amazing, no doubt. However, I did notice some pretty weird performance issues on both types of graphic settings. In performance mode, I had some really minor but still odd texture bugs, and on both types of graphic settings, I got constant frame drops. Hopefully Bloober releases a patch for it soon. Another minor complaint is that the second scenario, Born from a Wish, is completely missing. There's a nod to it before you chase Laura, but it's not here. While I'm not opposed to it being DLC, it's kinda strange that they're doing so. Hopefully they take the RE4 remake route where the DLC is cheap and expands on the actual scenario. One last thing, I really wish this game had unlockable costumes. I understand that's more so Resident Evil's thing, but if Silent Hill 3 can have alternate costumes, then so can this game. Personally, I wish we got costumes that more closely resembled the outfits in the original game. Hell, you can even find Maria's classic costume at Jack's Inn. Maria herself even comments on it. Overall though, Silent Hill 2 Remake is an amazing game. Not only is it faithful to the original, but it's just really freaking good. Now I know some people are going to ask which game is better, and honestly, both. I know that sounds stupid, but what I'm trying to say is that both games are just as good as each other, and it doesn't matter which one you play. Either way, you're playing Silent Hill 2. I'm glad this game turned out the way it did. Not only can older fans finally talk about a new game again, that's good, but new fans can finally experience one of the greatest stories in survival horror history. While I'm usually opposed to the idea of remaking every single old game in existence, I think Bloober has a decent shot at potentially remaking the rest of the series. Either way, I'm proud to say that Silent Hill is back. So, hi. You probably are wondering, if you're a returning subscriber, who the fuck is this person and why am I subscribed to them? I used to be known as Silver Ghost. I made a video about Devil May Cry Pika Combat, and that for some reason got 30,000 views. I'm doing a channel rebrand. Again, yeah, if you've been with me for a while, you know that this isn't new for me. Although, I think this time around, this will be the final rebrand, at least for a good while. See, thing is, on pretty much every platform, you know, like Twitter, Instagram, Discord, I'm known as Cheryl Pliskin. However, for some odd reason on YouTube, I decided to name myself Silver Ghost. In case you don't know where that comes from, it comes from Resident Evil 4. Anyway, I just thought that it would make more sense to sort of unify my channel with the rest of my social medias, just so it's not so confusing. I also rebranded my Twitch as well, so if you're wondering about that, then there you go. But yeah, in case you're wondering, I used to be known as Silver Ghost, but now I'm known as Cheryl Pliskin. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, but thank you for watching, and have a good one.